Well, they've closed this portion to the media. That's why you don't see them directly behind us. They're going to go in pads for the first time tomorrow. But Doug Peterson has talked so much about the enthusiasm of this group. And there's a couple of guys on this team that are targets around the NFL, right? For 2 years in a row now, they have had the #1 overall pick. Last year, it was Trevor Lawrence. This year, it was Trayvon Walker. Peterson has been emphatic they will never pick #1 overall again while he is here. That is the hope. But, you know, this target was on the back of Trevor. And now you look at Trayvon, and he's a guy that was so versatile, Ashlyn, coming out of college. They didn't know exactly how they would use him. What have you seen about how they're going to use Walker?
Yeah, there were so many questions when Trayvon Walker was drafted, and almost to a fault of the Jaguars are saying, why are you picking a guy and you don't know where he's going to play? I will say every single rep of training camp practice, he has been on the edge, opposite Josh Allen. That is his one spot, is to rush the passer, and the Jaguars think he's going to be pretty good at doing just that. I will say he's a very humble person in nature, and maybe that's to the credit of the Jaguars defensive line. He was in rookie meetings, and I was told he had to sing a little song. It didn't go so well, so the Jaguars defensive lineman decided he deserved peanuts in his car yesterday. So maybe to the credit of the Jaguars defense, why the #1 overall pick is going to stay very humble.
Look, they didn't pick him for his vocal ability. They picked him to get after the quarterback, and this is a Jacksonville team that needs to get more pressure on the quarterback. 32 sacks last year. That was tied for 5th fewest in the league. They need to be better, and they will tell you at pressuring the quarterback, hitting the quarterback, and some of that falls on Josh Allen. He led this team in sacks a season ago. His defensive coordinator, Mike Caldwell, spoke this morning, and Caldwell shared with us that Allen came to him this offseason and said, hey, what do you want out of me? What would you like me to do? And he said, I want you to be the best defensive player in this league. He said that should be the goal. That should be the mindset. So those are Allen's goals as he heads into this season. I saw him before practice off to the side working with Trayvon Walker. And I also asked Caldwell how you balance throwing a lot at Walker because you need him to produce immediately. And he said the message to Walker has been, this is what you have been doing your entire life. You're a football player. Nothing changes. Yes, there's a lot of information coming at you, but do what you've always done. And he said this guy has always expected to be a great football player. So nothing changes there. And look, we talk a lot about the flashy names, always the quarterbacks, right? Quietly assigning Foye Oluokun led the league in tackles last season. This is a quiet leader of this team, and Ashlyn, he can certainly make a difference.
He can, and truthfully, he is so underrated. It's a guy we really don't talk much about, but you're so right. Leading the league in tackles last year, he's going to wear the green dot on this defense and really be the communicator on defense and be a leader, a guy that came from the Falcons. And this is a young defense. They need a leader like Foye Oluokun. And you're right, we don't talk enough about him, but he is going to be a crucial part of this defense.
He had 3 interceptions last year. It's when he was asked this afternoon, you know, this is the leader in the NFL in tackles, and it's sort of like, oh, yeah, that's right, he was. That's sort of how he's always slipped under the radar, but teams know that this guy's good. He wore the green dot in Atlanta as well. So a lot of focus on the offense, but there is a lot to be excited about on this Jaguars defense. Scott?
Sarah, Ashlyn, thank you both very much. I want to bring in Willie McGinnis right now, talk a little bit of Jags here. Willie, I realized this last draft was not the quarterback draft, right? With 3 straight quarterbacks in the top 3 picks. It was a pass rusher draft. But that even still being said, I cannot remember a #1 overall pick being talked about less going into his rookie training camp than Trayvon Walker. Is that a good thing, bad thing? What can we expect out of the #1 overall pick?
Well, I think when you talk about the #1 draft this year, a lot of people really didn't know who was going to be the #1 draft, but it should have been a defensive guy for Jacksonville, and they did take Trayvon Walker. And I've had conversations about who should have been the top pick. The reason why it was kind of hard to figure him out is at Georgia is because he played 3 different positions. He played off the ball, he played inside, interior rusher, he played edge rusher. He did a lot of different things, so you didn't really see the production. Well, they got a plan for him in Jacksonville. They're going to run like a 3-4 hybrid type system. He's going to be an edge guy outside, on the opposite side, of Josh Allen. He's going to be able to attack and dominate tight ends. He's going to be out wide in the 5. Technique against tackles. He'll be an edge guy or rusher. They may use him to drop a little bit, but he's a guy now that has a definite position, and he knows what he's going to do every single play.